Welcome everyone, Sir Heroscape here today. Today we're going to be going through the concept art for today and update number 21, but additional stuff as well. So stay through all the way to the end because we've got some exciting new news released from the marketing team from Hasbro / Avalon Hill, and you won't want to miss it. So let's jump into it. A relentless pursuit for infinite firepower. Imperator Kane strides effortlessly across the battlefields of Valhalla atop his mighty, custom-built, all-terrain fighting vehicle. Flanking defensive positions and spraying high-caliber shells onto his stunning adversaries with almost reckless abandon. The white-hot barrels of his rotary cannon are matched only by his fiery demeanor and intense rage. As he charges into the enemy lines leading from the front, Imperator Kane is the living manifestation of the Clockwork Combine's tenacity and ingenuity, bringing war and carnage right back to the doorsteps of their foes. Okay, you guys, this concept art's nuts. Dude, look at this. Look at this freaking art. Oh, man. I'm not going to lie. I was not crazy about the Clockwork Combine. But I think the designers saw my videos or heard my thoughts and were like, all right, we've got to make sure to get people excited about this. And so I am way more excited now. I mean, this is dope. I mean, look at this thing. I mean, it is a miniature version of the Star Wars walkers. I mean, this is awesome. That's so cool. I mean, look at that. Now he kind of looks like he's at first I thought skunk or squirrel. No, yeah, skunk maybe. See the stripes on the top of the head? Yeah, skunk. There are some guesses on the Discord. Skunk seemed to be the most accurate one, I think. So I'm gonna go with that as well. But you guys, just look at this. This is freaking cool. Like, again, I was not super crazy about it to start, but the mech units, the walker, the flying gliders, the blimp or dirigible, I think they called it, the flying machine. This is just nuts. I mean, look at the detail of the gears and the pipes and the screws. That is so cool. My word. I'm in awe. That is so cool. And honestly, this might even be a bit of a callback to the missed opportunity with Star Wars. So back in the day when Heroscape got canned, we knew for a fact that they had Star Wars designs that they were ready to push out, and they were ready to start a Star Wars Heroscape version. So maybe this is kind of like a nod to that, you know? So, you know, it's unlikely that they got or will get Star Wars licensing now. So maybe this is kind of a nod to that fact, is it's like, all right, well, you know, we can make historical units. We can make units that are kind of referencing other types of fantasy genres. So why not have a skunk riding a mechanized, you know, walker unit similar to what we see in Star Wars. I mean, obviously there's noticeable differences, but the idea is the same. Man, that is just so cool. Oh, that was just a really quick review on the concept art for today. I didn't have a ton to go into detail in terms of, you know, theory or what about the unit. We pretty straightforward learned what we needed to learn about the unit in the, you know, there wasn't much to insinuate. Obviously really cool. Talk about, you know, your own theories, ideas, thoughts on where they're going to go from here. I think they're going to continue to do some cool stuff with that faction. And so I'm excited to see what else they come up with. I wanted to spend the majority of the rest of the time today talking about the next big announcement that they made on the Discord. So let's jump into those announcements and talk about those. All right, you see it here. Hasbro PulseCon 2022. October 1st, Heroscape at the center. As you can see, this is a central focus for Hasbro's PulseCon, like we were talking about the other day. And I think that's significant because this is where we're going to get, I think, a bunch more information. So here's the announcement from the marketing guy, Intergalactic Patrick. This is his first post. He says, "Hi, everyone. I'm the marketing guy at Avalon Hill. Since launch, I've been lurking in the shadows, but thought I'd drop some more heat today and confirm that Heroscape will be on the HasLab crowdfunding platform. We will be doing a panel and dive into the details of Age of Annihilation during PulseCon on 10/1. More to come soon. See you there." Okay, you guys, that is huge. Okay, that gives us a ton of information. One, they're going to be providing more details on October 10th, so everyone put that on your calendar, mark that day off, and that's where we're going to get a ton more information because it's going to be presented at PulseCon. But additionally, this piece here, it will be a part of the HasLab crowdfunding platform. Something to keep in mind, this is very similar to like the way Kickstarter works, or if you guys are familiar with Simon Games. Simon Games does games like Zombicide. That's their big flagship game that everyone knows about. At least I do. I play that. I backed it, and the idea is that you have is this crowdfunding aspect, right? Is on crowdfunding, you're essentially, it's a campaign where you're saying, hey, we want to raise X amount of dollars to fund the project. If we can make that amount of dollars, then we can produce however many, X number of shipments or whatever. Now, crowdfunding on HasLab, I'm not familiar with the specifics, but from what people have been saying, it's very much like what you would expect from like a CMON on Kickstarter. So it's essentially, you're going to have that campaign feel where you can be a $1 backer or like a $10 backer, or they'll have specific packages where you can be a top tier backer. So they did the same thing with HeroQuest. When they brought back HeroQuest, they basically allowed everyone to participate by saying, okay, we want to fund the project. We'll just say $1 million. I don't know the details, but if they want to fund $1 million, you have X number of backers, and those backers, if they, crowdfund $50 a piece, they made X number of dollars. So they typically have different tiers, and in those tiers you get different things. So they might say, okay, well, you get the base set of, the Combine Collective, right? If you pay $50. But if you get, if you back us for $200, then you're going to get, all these 3 different factions plus some terrain packs. Or if you're an ultimate backer and you drop $1,000, you get, early access, maybe some art, a painting, a custom painted unit, and a bunch, and all the packages or all the campaign units or whatever. And so they have different tiers that you can back essentially. The specifics of that we don't know. I mean, HasLab again, I believe is similar but a little different than the way that they do it on Kickstarter or similar projects. So we can expect something very similar. Again, look at how they did with HeroQuest. With HeroQuest, they did provide a really high tier with basically, I believe, extra expansions or like additional miniatures within some of the packages, things like that. So there are benefits to backing it early. That there tend to be things like, okay, well, maybe you'll receive it, X number of months earlier than when it hits the market, the larger market, or they'll throw in a couple extra miniatures, or they'll throw in, something else. So there's value in putting money up front. So one comment that came up was, so if I pay, it'll be like a pre-order and I'll get bonus. It says, yep, like a pre-order, backers will be the first to get the new Heroscape. As far as a bonus, you'll have to wait and see the offering. So great to hear there. I think that's a good indication that we can expect potentially some additional bonuses to being backers, but the biggest bonus obviously is getting it first. Now this was a really good comment here because we definitely get a much better timeline. So hopefully this means we can get more info decently soon. Phoenix Constantino says, yeah, that's what it's looking like. Does that mean it'll be shipped around this time next year? So he's responding in response to these projects. Now, if you think about it, if you've ever done a Kickstarter project with like CMON or other miniature games, they tend to operate in about a year timeline, right? So if you back it, a few months ago or right now, you can kind of expect it to take a fair bit of time for them to package, print, manufacture, ship all of those to those backers. And so that tends to be roughly about a year. In my experience with CMON, that's about what it was, and that's what it tends to be. And so we get an answer from the marketing team on this one. Avalon Bill says, in response to that comment, we've yet to announce the ship date as there is still some variance, but we're hoping you are correct. So that's a significant comment. Think about that. Is the previous comment was, okay, we can expect it about this time next year that it'll be shipped. And the return comment is, yeah, we're still confirming, but we hope that you are correct. So that could mean it is a little bit longer, but at the very least it means that we're looking at a full year out timeline before the packaging, the full manufacturing of the game itself is out to the public. So sit back, relax, take a deep breath. It's we're gonna have a little bit of time to think and get back into the game and support it, and that we've got some time. This is a significant update. He says our panel at PulseCon is on 10/1. So again, my guess is they're going to be doing maybe a Q&A where you can go into a live stream and be a part of that. And Carmine will still tease y'all until then, but in a month you'll know what's up. So it sounds like we will get all the updates as of 10/1 that we'll need for the timeline and releases. And then until then, kind of like I was talking about yesterday, we will be getting those daily updates. So that guess of 42 that I altered, and whoever guessed that first on the YouTube, well done. But it does look like we'll be around 42 these total updates, simply because it sounds like they're going right up until PulseCon, which is when everything shall be revealed. Just more confirmation here, asking if the crowdfunding details will be released on 10/1. Avalon responds, oh yeah, you'll see it. So expect the details of the crowdfunding project to be there, and get ready to open your wallets. W Boys asks one of the marketing guys, so in terms of new information on distribution, are we thinking days and weeks or months and years? And he responds, days. So I think it's significant here that they do plan on providing a big release on 10/1, which technically is days away. But it sounds like they do plan on providing even more detail in the coming weeks as well. So this is significant, and stay tuned. So Myth here is being responded to by Siegfried, and he's saying in response to the idea of, how is Hasbro funding this? Are they entirely funding this through the HasLab, or do they already have money? He's saying, I don't think it's looking for all funding through the HasLab, but I think it's a gauge of hard interest. And honestly, that is really how this is going, is CMON, HasLab. It's a great opportunity for them to see the response in the market before it ever hits the market. So instead of just throwing it out into retailers and hoping it does well, this is how they can basically test the waters, see how well the community is active and willing to put out their wallets to support it. If there is, then they know that there's a strong enough base that then they can hit the normal market and still make good money and keep it going. And Siegfried's just saying to this, yeah, given that HeroQuest has continued to have a life outside of HasLab, this seems very likely. And so, again, HeroQuest is a great way to look at this, is that HeroQuest has continued to be supported and outside the initial campaign. So for example, Zombicide, typically it's a kind of a one and done, right? They do a huge campaign for a month. They have a new Zombicide pack. This was for CMON games. They do all the expansions, everything at once. They drop it, ship it, and then it's done. It's not like they say, oh, hey, here's a new expansion for Zombicide. they technically create a whole new Zombicide game and do a new crowdfunding project for that. And so this is different, where they're basically saying the game of HeroQuest continues to get expansions. HasLab was just the way to kick it off. And so the hope would be that the same could happen for Heroscape. And Myth then says, if the funding goes well, then I expect it will see a wider release and get extra waves. Now, the key here that I want to go to next is that Myth points out that there's a few of these thinking emojis. And let's see who responded to that. Yep, your very own Craig Van Ness. The Craig Van Ness that created Heroscape responded to that comment with a thinking emoji, which is a subtle way to say, yeah, right? If this does well, if we can crowdfund this, if the community can come out and support us, yeah, there'll be more expansions, there'll be more to come. Again, another marketing guy responded to this and said, exactly, the goal is to get this relaunched so we can continue to support the players in the future. So this is significant, you guys. You have to recognize that this is being done because we brought back Heroscape, but it all depends on this relaunch opportunity. They're not just going to shell out money and do it just because they want to do it. They're going to do it with the understanding that there is also a business aspect to this, and that in order to support the players and the community, there has to be a legitimate profit that they make. And so that's just the reality of it, and we have to recognize that. Myth continues to ask some great questions. He responds to that comment by saying, meaning the hope is to release waves of units after the launch, not asking as part of the launch, including the big expansions of 5 large units and terrain packs like before. So basically saying, is the model for releasing going to be similar to we expect it? Avalon Bill responds to that saying future offerings may be packaged differently than how it was done in the past, assuming we get that far. So Avalon Bill is giving us a little bit of a hint there to say, just because Heroscape is back doesn't mean it's a given. Meaning, just because it's back after this initial, launch, doesn't mean it can stick around long term unless we as a community can keep it coming. Unless we can mirror the amount of devotion and excitement that the designers and Hasbro have shown. They've got the right people on board. They've got the right designs, the excitement factor in terms of what they're going to be providing us. So we have to respond in kind. Myth continues on to ask, do you have concepts for this second season already, or are you waiting for it to be approved? If it's approved, I expect there will be a longish delay between initial release and season 2. Would there be the same delay between season 2 and season 3, or would it be shorter? So again, the idea here is, well, assuming that we get it, approved, assuming that we can fund the first initial course, what's next step, right? Do we have to wait another year before more expansions? Do we get, constant updates? Have they even looked far enough to say, hey, we've got content ready for season 2 release? So I think those are great questions. In response to that, Avalon says, personally, I have a million concepts, but what might happen for real is still up to debate. I'm just happy they took my advice on steampunk anthropomorphic rodents. Kidding. So his response is basically, yeah, there's tons of different concepts. We just don't know yet. In addition to that, Intergalactic Patrick says, got it, you know how it goes, and I can't confirm details, but the plan is that if the HasLab goes well, more waves will be coming. Similar to HeroQuest, this isn't meant to be a one-and-done thing. So that, you guys, right there, this isn't meant to be a one-and-done thing. That proves from the marketing team themselves that, again, they are locked in. They plan to make this thing work, and they plan to make this thing keep going past this initial kickoff. But again, as the community, we have to be able to support it financially enough that it's going to be successful. So there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot that's been discussed on the forums. The marketing team at Hasbro, Avalon Hill, has been pretty open and honest about that information. So you guys, it is still within our hands. I think that's the key that you have to take away from this, is they're saying, okay, We've been releasing, concept art content. Here's all the things that you can get excited about. They say, okay, it's going to be announced at PulseCon. We're going to have a panel of people providing information and more stuff on 10/1. So mark your calendars. October 1st is when they're going to be providing a lot of this information in detail and launching off the HasLab. We know that it's going to be a crowdfunding project. So that's another important point. And that crowdfunding project isn't necessarily to say, hey, we need your money to fund this. It's, hey, are you going to put your money where your mouth is, right? We say we love this game. We say we're so excited. We say, oh my gosh, Heroscape's back. But can we prove to them that this is going to be a financial enough benefit to the actual business side of things that they can then provide it back to us, the content that we're looking for, right? HeroQuest was successful because the community came out, supported, and did more than just say, hey, yay, this is awesome. They said, you know what, this is awesome, take my money. Now, obviously, economy, hard times, all these things of, this is a nerd game. So I'm not telling you to go out and spend all your money, sell your house and buy everything, or maybe I am. No, just kidding. But no, seriously, think about it. And if you can manage to save a few dollars here and there this next month, if you can, find a way to just support the campaign when it comes out, the HasLab campaign project or whatever, let's make this thing happen. So, we're going to have a full month more of updates on concepts. I'm sure they'll have some more information outside of just concept art as well as we get closer. And then the big release is happening 10/1. So that's something to be excited about. We've got a clear vision. We know for a fact that the timeline is going to be at least a year out until official, miniatures in hands. And that's pretty normal. Outside of a game that, again, has to get thrown onto a store shelf, that's pretty normal. A lot of miniature games, can struggle if they just hit the store shelves. And, we saw that Heroscape had its own struggles with just going right to, onto store shelves. And so again, they're switching it up. They're trying to learn from their past, and they're trying to do what's been proven. Simon, again, is a great model, has proven that miniature games can make great money, have a great supporting community and cast when it comes to crowdfunding their projects. But again, it's more of an indication of interest, and if they can prove it on the market in a wider range. Because again, if the HasLab is successful and they say, wow, we made good money, but it's very clear that the community and there's people interested in this, then they know that they're safer to bring it out to, game store shelves and whatnot, or however they decide to do it. So a lot to think about, a lot to get excited about, and a lot to sweat over, especially our wallets. So start saving. Stay tuned for more announcements and updates. This video is probably outdated already. They might have been talking more updates on the Discord, but I tried to wait until there was a fair bit of conversation happening so I could provide some more updates outside of just the initial, hey, this thing is happening. So anyway, share your thoughts. A lot to talk about. Excited to hear what you have to say. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.